Parents of bullies, when did you realize your child was a bully and how did you react? All I know is that my wife is a teacher, and when she tells parents about their kid being mean, or a bully, or anything bad, they just say crap like he doesn't do that at home, he's a good boy, you must be lying. All the other kids are lying, the parents at her school are affluent and can do no wrong. Parents, please listen to your children's teachers. I am also a teacher. Every parent says that stuff when anything remotely not positive is said about their child. I'm really hoping lockdown has opened some parents' eyes. You should know that one of the major forming factors for bullies can be parents paying no attention at all, so the replies you get may be limited by that. I completely agree. It's not a valid excuse, but it is a reason. Every bully I've met had troubles at home. It wasn't always parents not paying attention. Sometimes it was toxic parents paying too much attention, so they got criticized to the extent they took it out at school. My nephew's a bully. I saw it coming though. My sister's non-existent in his life. He and my brother-in-law are separated from my sister. Honestly, she's a piece of work. Most of the family has turned their backs on her because she compulsively lies and treats everyone like they're not good enough. She slapped me in the face during Thanksgiving because I stepped out to speak to my then girlfriend who was in a PICE facility after threatening to kill herself. She said I was being selfish and needed to spend time with the family, not on my phone. Naturally, my nephew picked up on this behavior while she still at least tried to act like a mother. Recently found out he punched a kid in the face and broke his nose. It's awful to hear about because the whole family is super supportive of my brother-in-law, and we know my nephew has some developmental issues because he was born about 2 months early and had to be incubated. Anyways, he's 6 or 7 now and starting to show these pretty serious signs. Anger. I haven't been in the area. I moved almost a state away for work though and haven't been able to be part of my nephew's life in a while, which is a bummer. I just hope my brother-in-law is managing. So I'm getting asked a lot about how he broke the kid's nose. So I asked my mom if she had more info on what exactly happened. The story I'm being told is the kid had been getting attention from the teacher for being good in class or something. My nephew got jealous, walked up to him and hit him in the face. The kid jumped back, fell over and smacked his head into a desk, and that's how he broke his nose. Still inexcusable behavior though. It's not what I imagined, which was him just going ape crap and smacking the kid around over and over. Therapy can help a lot at that age. Pretty serious stuff there, but a lot of kids are testing out crappy behavior at that age. Spend time with him too. Family attention and some counseling can help a lot. My son was a bully. First grade, I started getting noticed from his teacher that he was throwing sand at girls and stabbing people with a pencil. I talked to him and he had crazy first grade reasons, like she was being mean first. I told him it's not cool and to knock it off. Every teacher meeting I would tell them to let me know and I'll punish him. Second grade, I meet the teacher. I warn her that I think he's a bully and to watch him. Same crap starts happening. But now he's being mean to specific people. Anyone that can't run fast, etc. I'm thinking to myself, I can't watch him all the time. What do I do? At home I start to punish him, but it doesn't really do anything. All teacher conferences' main agenda is bullying. Third grade, I meet the teacher and warn her we have a bully on our hands. Same crap happens. I'm reading a book on the subject and I read a passage that says if you call a kid a bully, he lives up to the role. Let the experiment begin. From that day I stopped calling him a bully and started saying things like, "You're going to help your teacher today, right? You are a good boy. Make me proud by being a helper." Almost night and day. The calls stopped. The next teacher conference, the teacher said how helpful he was. He's in 8th grade now. No bully calls. I make him do volunteer work weekly just in case. He still does crazy crap like attacking kids that are mean to girls, but no bullying. I don't know if I caught it in time or if my kid just needed coaching, but it worked. It's called a self-fulfilling prophecy and happens a lot with kids. You believe that he's a bully and people tell him he is, and soon he believes it and feels like he can't change. Not my story, but my mom's friend's mother. A friend of mine became a bully in middle school. My mom and her mom were friends when we were kids in Girl Scouts. We played together but went our own way more and more when she started to become mean. There was this community event about bullying for Girl Scouts, I think, and my mom went to support the organizer, and because I'd been bullied for years, she wanted to find ways to support me and resolve troop conflicts. This friend's mom went and my mom saw her. She's since left the troop and it had been a few years, and was surprised. Asked her if her daughter had been bullied too. She responded, no, my daughter's become a bully and I'm embarrassed. I want to understand why she's doing this and try to teach her how much she's hurting others. My mom was really impressed because this woman, prior to this conversation, was kind but rather aloof and ignored a lot of the previous young girls picking on each other in Girl Scouts clubs, passing it off as just normal kid issues. It was almost like she'd finally flicked a switch and realized that her daughter's behavior had been progressively getting worse over the years and she, as a mom, had just ignored it until it got to a very serious point. I'm not sure what came of it, but from other people who went to high school with her, she apparently became less of a true bully and started to act more kindly. I always wondered how those conversations went. Several answers here are along the lines of one of the things that makes a bully is lack of attention. My parents love me more than life itself, and yet I was still a bully in my elementary years. I couldn't tell you why exactly, other than just saying autism, which is no excuse. My parents did not allow the teachers to use that as an excuse, and made sure I was appropriately punished, and I am so grateful for that. Anyway, most autistic children have the one thing they obsess over. For me, it was Garfield the cat. Every phone call from the principal, one Garfield thing was taken away, and it broke my parents' hearts, but it worked. I consulted my mother to see if she had any insight as to the reason. Best guess is lack of regard for other people's feelings. Please stop recommending RM's origin to me. If I wanted to ruin my childhood, I'd already be subscribed to that subreddit. I have a disorder on the autism spectrum called Asperger's. I too have something I obsess over, which is coins. IDKY. A bunch of friends and myself were sitting around one day talking about school and we got to the subject of being bullied. As I sat there listening, I realized that I didn't have a story to tell. This is when I also realized I was the bully. Honestly, most bullied person I know also bullied weaker people at some point. For me, the bottom line of bullying is simply show them you bite back. Once it's learned for good. My sister was a bully. She bullied me and my brother and also kids in school. My parents ignored it. I think they were a little afraid of her. Not a bully, but I know I got one of my old bullies hard when, on suggestion from one of my cousins, to invite said bullies to my birthday party. 7 total, only one showed, and proceeded to introduce the kid as the shithead who beats me up every day, even called him that in front of his mom. I know at some point the kid's mom had a discussion with my mom. I'll ask if she remembers how it went, and after about 20 minutes they up and left. Never had an issue with him afterwards. Update. Talked to mom. She doesn't remember the exact words that were used, but the conversation was basically bully's mom saying I was being rude to my guest and was using foul language I shouldn't use. To which my mom proceeded to tell her all the crap this kid and his little circle of goons did to me. My mom was actually going to pull me aside and show the lady the bruises I had on me from him and the other bullies when she decided to leave. I thought this post was going in a way different direction when you started with, I got one of my old bullies hard. I used to verbally bully a neighborhood kid. I think we were around 7 or 8 years old or so. She was deaf and therefore talked a bit weird. At one point we were being mean towards her and it got so bad she jumped on her bike to get away from us and she lost her balance and fell, chafing her chin and palms. She starts crying, and at the same time laughing, but also panic and remorse on our side ensued. Not long after I got home, her mother called mine and my mum was very upset and angry with me. She said she was taking me to the toy store and told me to bring my pocket money and buy this girl a gift as an apology. Also, I had personally go to her house, ring the bell, come in, gift her the present and say I'm sorry, that it was hurtful what I did and would never do it again. I remember feeling so bad. I cried harder than she did when she fell off her bike earlier that afternoon. I was so ashamed of myself and horrified that my mum was so mad at me. The girl asked me why I did this to her and I just could not answer the question. I just wept like a baby on my own mother's lap, mumbling I'm sorry between sobs. For sure my parents taught me a lesson. You felt shame, which can be good. Shame is a powerful motivator for change. Not until he started 5th grade. He was super close to his grandpa, wife's dad, and when he died it destroyed him and his behavior changed. Few weeks after the funeral, this kid's mom called my wife saying things my kid was saying and doing. Not the school, mind you. We had a parent-teacher conference days before she called. Teacher didn't say a word. We talked to him. Your first reaction is to protect your kid and not accept it. But we can tell by the way he was reacting to the discussion. We arranged a playdate of sorts. We monitor it now. He talks to a therapist too. He's a good kid, just makes terrible decisions. As a father of 4, we've been on the other end of it as well, and usually if the kid's an butthole, so is one or both of the parents. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree at times. Usually if the kid's an butthole, so is one or both of the parents. I understand this may seem like comfortable logic to hold on to, but honestly don't. My parents were fine people, and my brother ended up stealing from all of us and selling drugs. Bully, try legitimate psychopath, stepdaughter. It's an ongoing battle to keep all other children and animals safe. I hardly sleep and I don't sit down. Yes, everybody involved went to counseling. The kid in question doesn't participate, won't talk, won't interact, and leaves when she has the opportunity. If you think you can make a kid participate through parental direction or spankings, you're in for a rude awakening with your own children. My goal is not to alienate a child, it is to minimize the harmful. My daughter, I figured it out after I took her phone and read her online post and some of the communications on her phone. Ever seen the movie Mean Girls? My kid put all of the characters to shame with her vindictive cattiness. Had she not been my kid, I would have sent her down the road to as highly toxic. None of my other kids act in that manner, and all of us have open communications. We are not the religious zealot types and are very open to all people, included Reatvatmaters and Orientatarian. When watching the videos she made on her phone, I saw that she would draw dongs on her sister when the sister was sleeping. She get girls to fight with their boyfriends. She would intentional do crap to try to break the wife and I up. She paid another underage girl to coerce me into freaking her, and then physically kicked the girl's butt because I didn't go for it. She recorded herself causing bruises on herself, so she could say a parent was beating her up. She intentionally start fights and create drama within her own peers groups. She lost all the friends she had in middle school because of her antics. I took her phone away, cut the internet, and had the police issue trespass notices to all of her friends to prevent them from coming to the house. I also removed the door to her room to prevent the physical escapades. I'm not 100% convinced it was all consensual. Everything has been reported to proper authorities. In return, she threatened suicide and secretly called the cops. We took her to the hospital for the suicide threat. They placed her in a 72-hour confinement for mental health. She used the hospital phone to call a friend and have a friend in California make allegations to the police. It was a full-on drama meltdown. The daughter is still a bully and toxic. There's not much we can do. We can't get her to go to counseling on a committed basis and she's not willing to change herself. She might have a mental illness, I am not qualified to say. We can only mitigate and try to limit what damage and drama she can do. We shield the other kids away from her and try to be as happy as we can. As far as a parental relationship, there isn't one. We have a aggressive drama queen that we legal responsible for and kind of pander. Recently, because I'm working from home and so get to hear, albeit distractedly, the discourse between my 2 youngest sons. My ears perked when I heard the oldest one's voice drop and the other react with a sudden wail. Then the older one, cool as a cucumber, affected as heck, say hey, are you okay, little buddy, while the other one continued to cry. I strode into the little one's bedroom in time to see the older one towering over the younger one staring at him menacingly, but he saw me from the corner of his eye and continued with the fake tone. Mom, something's wrong with that chair. He was sitting in it and it just like flipped over. I just could not believe how he could believe that I would buy that. And his tone was just fake. It gave me chills. I had never seen that side of him before. He's 13 BTW. Crap, now everyone thinks I'm a horrible parent, which, fair and B, my kid's a psycho or a sociopath. I fear I may have commented on something I really had no business commenting on because of the one-off behavior Max exhibited, but post I did, and so, to answer some of your questions. 1. No, I did not beat that butt. 2. I asked Max how the chair had tipped over and he said he didn't know, it just had. I asked him to demonstrate and he got on the chair and Jason, the younger one, immediately kicked it out from under him. Bam. Are you okay, bro? Jason asked, in just as affected a tone as Max had. Cue the angry scrabbling, going for each other, etc. I managed to pry them apart and sent Max to his room and told Jas to stay in his. Kept my ears perked the rest of the afternoon for trouble. When I finished my work I asked Max to come to the study so we could talk and, almost as if he knew I was fishing for info, he offered it up. I only did that because he was being such a jerk about winning the game. He's always playing it. Of course he got better than me. Had to take him down a notch. Literally, he laughed. I took away his cell phone and Jason's game. Also, to everyone who had to deal with a sibling who was legit abusive, I'm sorry for the pain you endured. I had one of those. A wild, crazed sister who liked to dig her talons into my face. Luckily I never scarred. Physically, that is. Anyway, I hope you guys are in a better place now. I'll keep an eye on Max and Jason and hope to be a better parent and more judicious poster. Since obviously my comment didn't really meet the criteria, given more context. Peace, everyone. I was a bully in middle school, and I can tell you that you won't get many good answers. People like me get that way because nobody is paying any attention. If nobody makes you feel good, you do it yourself. And children aren't mature enough to do that properly, so they try to steal happiness from others. They'll put you down to feel good. That's why bullies break down if you beat them just once. Their hand has slipped from the last string of control they had. It's not pleasant for anyone, and the longer it goes on, the more irreparable the damage becomes. TLDR, pay attention to your kids and show them the way of kindness by example. I've seen a lot of people talking about bullying as a result of being bullied and various other things. Just wanted to say that even though I came off this way, I didn't mean to generalize all bullying. This is my experience and I tell it because it hurts me to see people end up like me, and I refuse to run away from my past. I totally understand that there's multiple types of bullies, and I've actually learned a lot about the cycles of violence that aggressive bullying can form from this thread. Definitely don't mean to put down anyone's experiences. Cheers. I want to make it clear that I didn't do this on my own. There's a really good man out there named Jordan Peterson who makes some of the best content I've ever been privileged to hear. Truly like a father figure to me, and I've never even met him. If anyone is looking to change for the better, I cannot recommend enough that you check him out on YouTube. Without him I really don't think I would have turned my life around. At least not for a long time. From someone who was a victim of a lot of bullying, thanks for writing this. It's not something I didn't already know, but interesting to hear it from that perspective. Hope you're doing alright. I was the victim until I paid older kids and snacks to beat up the people bullying me. I made sure they knew I had caused their injuries. You see, the snack transaction was a one-time thing, but the bullies thought the older kids that beat them up were my mates. And I kept that lie alive. Less than £3 to take out a hit on my tormentors. Worth it. Not a parent, nor a sister, but we take care of our girl relative as often as we can. She has her own family. We're just close. She's 8 now and started bullying when she started school because she thinks she's dominant. Underlying reasons are mainly rooted in the household and environment. How she's being treated, mostly by adults. How people react to her actions. How she's being reprimanded. Methods. And how often she's disciplined. Who she's surrounded by, etc. Still hard to fix right now, but best method. Keep calm and explain to the child. Cause effect. Consequences, the feelings and situation of the victim, etc. Remember that you're dealing with a kid. Don't just scold them and expect them to see at your level of maturity and understanding. Explain. Talk it out. Their stubbornness will get in the way, but stay firm and ease your way into their trust and comfort. Child psychology. Learn it. She's not intentionally bad. Just that her jokes come off as sarcasm at such a young age, to the point of insult sometimes. We found out from her teachers and classmates. Problem. Her household doesn't see this as an issue to address and actually celebrates her cleverness. But even when they do, their way of discipline obviously apparently doesn't work. Any reasonable method of discipline will work as long as it's consistent. What they're doing isn't working because they're not being consistent. not a parent, but I lived next door to my younger sister's bully. We were constantly going over there to tell the mother, hey, your kid hit my sister today, or hey, your kid bit my sister, and the girls were about 9/10, so she knew better. The mother denied that her precious sperm pet could do anything like that. A few days later, the mother and the kid were at school and I was dropping my sister off. The bully girl walked up to a random younger kid and sucker punched her in the face. About 20 other adults saw. Instead of disciplining her kid, she started yelling at the kid she punched, calling this poor 9-year-old a S, a W and a B, then raised her hand to hit her. But when another couple of parents started yelling at her and pushing her away, this grown but 35-year-old started crying her eyes out that people were calling her out on her bulls. It was a real eye-opener that the kids probably pick up their abusive behavior from somewhere. As it turns out, the mother was a complete psycho and regularly lost and gained custody of her kids because of her behavior. She goes through boyfriends like they're going out of fashion, hit one of them around the head with a rolling pin and cause crap wherever they go. The definition of a Karen. And upon knowing who the mother's parents are, it's a family thing for sure. Frick, that's awful. I hope the girl finds a better home, or she's probably going to be just as messed up as her mum. Some people just shouldn't have the right to have kids. There should be a mandatory psychology test or something. My parents thought I was a bully. I bit a kid in preschool cause he had a huge brown freckle on his arm. Him talking 1.5 inch, 38 mm diameter large. Parents took me to the kid's house to apologize and help the other parents know why I did it. Literally told them I thought it was a brownie and I literally thought it was. So I wasn't truly a bully but more of a complete moron, but for a few days 2 sets of parents believed I was the Antichrist at 4 years old. At that age it can be put down to brain development. If you carried on and expanded on that behavior past the age of 4/5 with no remorse, understanding or empathy, then it would be bullying, especially if you would have been capable of learning from your actions but choosing not to. Obviously the line is more blurry if it's a child with learning disabilities and challenging behaviors. I was acquainted with a bully early on in elementary school, the way too aggressive type. I remember my other friends and I incidentally had similar stories of the bully trying to drown us in the local pool. He would punch kids all the time for no reason, and was extremely defensive and mentally weak, even for an 8-year-old. Despite it all, his parents were very nice, but spoiled him a fair amount. One day, on the first day of school that year, he was gone and nobody knew what happened. We assumed he moved away until 6 years later. My friends and I were all playing soccer at the park across from the bully's house when suddenly we all spotted the bully atop his backyard play structure, fighting a younger man with a toy lightsaber. We all then came to the consensus that he had been sheltered for the past 6 years and most likely never left the house, which I guess is one way to deal with a bully. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.